Lights, camera, biceps, ditch. Let's watch this movie and flex our shit. Movie buff, flexing real hard, watching badass stuff. Movie buff. We don't watch no movies that suck, big nuts. Movie buff. Damn, I just ripped my shirt cause I flex too much. Movie buff. Open up the backpack full of snacks, let's relax. Pop the movie and then pass the peanut butter cups.
Yo, what's up? This is Adam with the very first episode of Movie Buffs. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be awesome. I hope to make as many of these as possible, and it was kind of tough trying to figure out what movie I was going to talk about for my very first podcast. But, in the end, it was an easy choice. Today, we are going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original 1990 movie. The best of the series, the best Ninja Turtle movie ever made. That's what we're going to go over today. First things first, let's get started by watching a trailer or listening to the trailer.
In a city without a future, it's time for a cleanup. And now, the greatest crime-fighting unit in history is back on the case.
Dudettes, Major League Butt Kicking is back in town. Oh yeah! Awesome!
They're quirky.
Adrian! Pizza unneeded. Righteous! Ooh!
They're hungry.
The new Turbo Ginsu! Woohoo! It dices, it slices, and yet makes French fries in 3 different... Whoops! Oh.
And they're ready for action.
Ah! A fellow checker, eh?
Michelangelo.
Excellent! I like it! Step up!
Donatello.
Bossa Nova! Gotcha!
Leonardo.
Spectacular!
And Raphael.
Radical! Yeah! Let's go for it! Whee! Excellent! It's a Kodak moment. You got it! God, I love being a turtle! Hey, come on, let's move it. I'm starving.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Lean, mean, and back on the screen.
Nice. That was awesome. That's a great fucking trailer. Man, if trailers were still made like that today, oh God, movies would be so much better. Man, that's a good trailer. I don't really remember seeing it when I was a kid, but man, if I had seen that when I was a kid, I would have been hyped, super hyped to go watch that movie. Now, let's go ahead and do a quick synopsis rundown of this movie. Throw out a little key facts about the Ninja Turtles, and I'm going to throw you over to my AI assistant, Gus.
Ninja Turtles 1990 is a live-action superhero comedy film directed by Steve Barron and released on March 30th, 1990 by New Line Cinema. Produced on a modest budget of around $13.5 to $14 million, it became a massive box office hit, grossing over $202 million worldwide and standing as one of the highest-grossing independent films of its time. The movie stars Judith Hoag as television reporter April O'Neil and Elias Koteas as the vigilante Casey Jones. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themselves are brought to life through groundbreaking for-the-era animatronics and suit performances, with voices provided by Brian Tochi, Leonardo, Robbie Rist, Michelangelo, Corey Feldman, Donatello, and Josh Pays, Raphael. Kevin Clash performs and helps voice their wise rat sensei Splinter, while James Saito portrays the villainous Shredder, with voice work by David McCharron. The story follows 4 ordinary pet turtles that were accidentally exposed to a mysterious radioactive ooze in the sewers of New York City. The mutagen transforms them into anthropomorphic, pizza-loving teenagers with a passion for ninjutsu. Trained in the martial arts by their adoptive father and master, the wise rat Splinter. The brothers, Leonardo, the responsible leader, Michelangelo, the fun-loving party dude, Donatello, the tech genius, and Raphael, the hot-headed rebel, emerge from the shadows as unlikely heroes. When a powerful crime wave sweeps the city, orchestrated by the ruthless ninja master Shredder and his army known as the Foot Clan, the Turtles step up to protect the innocent. Reporter April O'Neil, investigating the mysterious thefts and attacks, crosses paths with the heroes and soon teams up with them. Along the way, they also gain an unlikely ally in the hockey-masked vigilante Casey Jones. Together, the group must rescue Splinter after he is captured and confront Shredder in an epic showdown that tests their teamwork, courage, and ninja skills. Blending action, humor, and heart, the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles captures the spirit of the beloved comic book and animated series while delivering practical effects spectacle and memorable one-liners. It's a fun, nostalgic ride that introduced a generation to the heroes in a half shell.
So, looking back, I don't know when I first saw this movie. I can tell you that I saw this movie when I was a kid, for sure. But, but that's not really saying a whole lot, because most movies I saw I saw a lot of movies when I was a kid. There wasn't really any limitations as to what kind of movies I could watch, as long as it wasn't just like straight up porn, you know. but I watched Ninja Turtles, but I also watched like Bloodsport. I watched Species. I watched Alien. I watched Halloween, Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched pretty much anything and everything when I was a kid. But did I watch this movie when I was a kid? Abso-fucking-lutely. 100%. Now, I can tell you right now that this movie had a profound effect on me. It has literally shaped the kind of man that I ended up growing up to be. And other things did as well. It's not just the Ninja Turtles, but anybody who knows me knows that the Ninja Turtles affected me in a very big way. And this movie is my favorite of the Ninja Turtle property. Like, out of everything that they've ever come out with, whether it's comic books, cartoons, shows, other animated shows, animated movies, live action movies, this first live action movie, I think, is the best. It set the bar, and ever since it set the bar in 1990, it has not been beaten. Nothing made sense has been able to come close to how badass this movie is. And yeah, when I was a kid, I absolutely watched it. I don't think there was a kid alive that, number one, didn't know who the Ninja Turtles were, and number two, didn't own at least one Ninja Turtle toy. I definitely owned a shitload of them. I still have some. I have some sitting on my wall right over there in my living room. That's how big of an effect the Ninja Turtles had pretty much on the world when it comes to pop culture. Now, for this movie, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to just go through the entire movie and talk about it. Now, I'm going to use the help of Gus to kind of walk us through the storyline of the movie, and then we'll talk about it as he describes different scenes in the movie in order from start to finish. All right, so Gus, give us our first opening to the movie.
The film opens with a moody 1980s New York montage. steaming manholes, neon lights, and shadowy alleys. Channel 3 reporter April O'Neil, Judith Hogue, films a live stand-up about a bizarre crime wave, coordinated thefts with no witnesses. As her crew packs up, April spots young thieves loading a van. She confronts them. The lights suddenly die. 4 shadowy figures drop in. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We catch only flashes of green skin, bandanas, and weapons. Raphael's sigh shatters a streetlight. The Turtles dispatch the punks with flips, kicks, and staff swings, then vanish into the sewers. April pockets the drop sigh as police arrive. Tone: dark, mysterious, and practical effects heavy.
Okay, so right off the bat, it hits a pretty serious tone overall. There's massive crime wave in the city. Shit's being stolen left and right. Turns out it's a bunch of little punk-ass teenagers that all work together in some criminal organization. Now, teenagers are too fucking stupid to be working together like that successfully. So obviously, there's a mastermind behind the scenes. We all know who that is, the Shredder. But nobody else knows about the Shredder. They don't really know, nobody knows the word the Shredder. Only those teenagers. The Turtles don't even know about the Shredder. The only person who knows about the Shredder is Master Splinter, and as far as he's concerned, he disappeared a long time ago. He could be dead. So April is about to get mugged by these pieces of shit who are stealing stuff. And then all of a sudden, a sigh hits a light, lights go out, everything's dark, and then boom, you hear in the silence Ninja Turtles whooping that ass, right? Now that right there is our first opening to the Ninja Turtles. You don't quite see them yet, but that's okay, because you're about to. But what's awesome is we don't have to wait until like halfway into the movie, or worse yet, the end of the fucking movie, to see the Ninja Turtles. How many movies have you watched to where the movie is about either some creature or some, like non-human or some monster or something, some little things, and you don't see them until midway or even worse, later on the last third of the movie? Like Gremlins, you don't see a gremlin until like halfway into the movie or so. Tremors, you don't see Tremors until a good while into the movie. You see inklings of what might be brewing, but you don't actually see them. With this, boom, we get the Ninja Turtles right away within the first few minutes, which is great. Not only that, they pack it full of characters really fast. April O'Neil's already in it. We got the 4 Turtles rocking and rolling, okay, right off the bat, first few seconds of the movie. Raphael loses his sigh. Now that's a big fucking deal, because when you think about it, where the hell do these turtles even get their weapons? Think about it. There's no Amazon. There's no eBay. Maybe they could do like mail order. I don't know. I think mail order was a thing. I don't know if they get the home shopping network in the sewer. I don't know if, Mikey's on the phone ordering new nunchucks or whatever. I don't know if that's a thing. But I'm going to tell you right now, if those weapons are as rare as I think they are, as far as them being able to get them, Raph losing one of his size is a big fucking deal. I don't know, maybe they forged their own weapons. Maybe they have I've been watching Forged in Fire lately. It's possible. Master Splinter down there fucking with his sledgehammer busting away on some hot steel. Maybe he made all of their weapons. I don't know. But those things are as about important to them as, I don't know, like our kids are to us, right? So they don't want to lose those babies. Each of those weapons for each of the turtles is basically an extension of themselves, especially since their whole identity is about being a ninja, and ninjas use weapons, so they need their weapons.
Cut to the turtles' sewer lair, a candlelit hideout of salvaged junk. Leonardo, blue bandana, voiced by Brian Tochi. Michelangelo, orange, Robbie Wrist. Donatello, purple, Corey Feldman. And Raphael, red, Josh Pies, celebrate their win with high fives and jokes. Their sensei, Splinter, voiced by Kevin Clash, critiques their teamwork. You must fight as one. Michelangelo orders pizza. Cowabunga. Raphael, frustrated by the goofing, storms out alone.
So now that we see the turtles, like we're instantly, like I mean instantly getting an idea of just how awesome the turtles really are and how lively their personalities are. Like right off the bat, when you go into when they go and meet back with Splinter and they're telling him everything about how their first mission, and they did say first mission, so what we just saw right there was their very first time going up to the surface and going on a mission to, I guess, fight crime. I guess that's why they're learning ninjutsu. I mean, I know part of it is probably so they can hide from the world because they are mutants and because they are going to be outcasts. But I think they want to be do-gooders. Otherwise, what is it like? What would it mean to them to go up and look for people committing crimes? They went out of their way to help April. I think they were patrolling. So anyway, you get a real sense of everybody's personality right off the bat. Like right away, you have Leo kneeling in front of Master Splinter, listening intently. He is obviously a high-level student. He loves to pay attention. He wants to absorb everything that Master Splinter says. Like, it's no jokes. He takes his studying and his ninjutsu seriously. Plain and simple. Donatello, he's obviously listening because he's smart, okay? But he also comes across as like a really, really chill turtle. You know, like surfer turtle. Yeah, dude. Mikey, goofball. You know, while Splinter's doing his thing, Mikey's over there on the phone ordering some pizza. He just got finished beating that ass. He needs the calories, okay? He has to get the calories in, and the fastest way for him to replenish his body and build his muscles is to get on the phone with Domino's and order him some goddamn pizza. Plain and simple. So you can't fault him for that, but he happens to be doing it while Splinter is trying to teach a lesson. And that kind of pisses Splinter off. But it's funny, you know, how Splinter throws a phone book or whatever at him, or whatever book he throws at him. It's hilarious because it's very much like a father dealing with his little shit teenagers and trying to get them to pay attention. Another really good scene is when Mikey was waiting for the pizza delivery guy, right? Okay? And the delivery guy, he's like looking for a 122 and an eighth. It's like, terrific. Where the heck is 122 and an eighth? You're standing on it, dude. Just pass it down here. And he freaks him out. He looks down at the grate, at the sewer grate, and he passes the pizza through the grate, and then a $10 bill is passed up. He's like, give me that. It's like, hey, this is a 10. The tab's 13. You're 2 minutes late, dude. Oh, come on. I couldn't find the place. Wise man say, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. Meanwhile, Raphael is brooding. You know, everybody else is starting to have a party, and Raphael is brooding, right? He's always in a bad mood. That's just the way that he is. So he needs his alone time. So what does he do? He puts on a trench coat, puts on a hat, and he's like, I'm going to go watch a movie. That okay with you? Sure, go ahead. And he goes out and he watches Critters, which honestly I've never seen, so I don't know if it's as terrible as Raphael was saying, but maybe it is. I gotta watch that shit one day.
On the surface, Raphael watches Critters at a theater, then stops purse snatchers in a park. Vigilante Casey Jones, Elias Koteas, hockey masked and armed with sports gear, crashes the scene. Raphael and Casey brawl brutally, Psy versus hockey stick, until Casey wins and mocks the freak. Raphael returns to the lair defeated.
When he's walking through the park, he manages to stop this punk from stealing some lady's purse, right? Okay, he still has his one Psy on him. He shows it. It's like, I mean business. I got a fucking Psy. You better back off. I'm also a giant turtle, right? So he runs away. He meets his homie in the middle of the park, and who interrupts? Casey Jones. That's right. We get Casey Jones right off the bat. Again, another main character is being introduced into the movie right away. right? And he starts beating the crap out of these young punks who were stealing from people. Raphael sees that. He don't like that shit. So he goes and intervenes. Now, Casey Jones and Raphael are butting heads because they have their own idea of how to handle bad guys. They have their own code of vigilantism. Casey Jones, he's looking for a fight. Like, he gets up and he goes out and he looks for somebody to pick a fight with. He wants to beat some ass. And of course, he wants to be on the righteous side of ass beating, but man, he wants to beat that ass. And Raphael just got in the way of that. So the only thing that he can do now is, if he wants to get his ass beating fix, he's going to have to throw down with Raphael. Raphael's there. He got in his way. It's time for them two to throw down. Now, obviously, Raphael is more skilled, but he's also cocky. And Casey Jones is not a chump. He might not be a ninja, but he's definitely a tough guy, and he's definitely been in a lot of fights, so he knows how to fight. So he catches Raphael off guard and puts his ass into a trash can. And that pisses Raphael off big time. Okay? And then Casey Jones runs into the night. Obviously, we're going to be seeing him again later on down the road. Raphael, pissed off, goes and yells into the night sky, "Damn!" Sucks for him. Now he has to head home a loser.
Splinter offers a quiet lesson on anger. Morning, April wakes in her apartment. Her boss, Charles Pennington, visits. Meanwhile, Raphael sneaks into the subway to reclaim his sai from April's bag. Shredder's Foot Clan ninjas ambush April to silence her reports. Raphael leaps in, defeats them, and carries unconscious April back to the lair on his shoulders. Unaware a Foot Scout follows.
So I don't want to gloss over the scene with Raphael and Master Splinter. When he gets back from his encounter with Casey Jones, he has a sit down with Master Splinter. Like, and Splinter's kind of upset with him. It's like, what's troubling you, my son? And he doesn't want to talk about it. And he's like, come and sit with me. And he's like, can't this wait till morning? He's like, you will listen now. So he sits down and he has this nice little heart-to-heart with Raphael. And this is actually a very underrated scene when you think about it, because they're not just portraying Raphael as a guy with an attitude. I'm a hothead. I like to beat people up. That's always how they portray Raphael. But what they're doing here is they're also portraying Raphael as somebody, the only brother, who has this inner rage that he is constantly battling with. Because he is a good person. He trains with his brothers just like, he trains with Splinter just like his brothers do. He listens to the lessons that Splinter teaches them. And for some reason, he is the only one who has developed this inner rage and this sort of like, I need to deal with it by myself kind of bravado. And Splinter sees that, and he knows that that's okay. That's what kind of turtle you are, Raphael. I've been trying my best to channel that anger, but still more remains. Anger clouds the mind, right? And he doesn't want his son to be so clouded by this anger that it turns him into something that he's not going to like. He knows that it's his job as his father to help shape his son into a better turtle, into a better person, right? And he wants him to know that even though he is fighting this anger battle by himself, to not forget about his brothers and to not forget about him, his father who loves him. It's a really touching moment. Raphael's emotional. He's kind of crying a little bit. Splinter is talking to him in a very soothing voice and trying to connect with him. He places his hand on him. It's actually a really touching moment. And what's crazy is this is a few minutes in, and this is supposed to be a kids movie, and already we have a bunch of criminals getting their ass whooped, which is awesome. We have the introduction of another vigilante who loves to whoop ass, which is awesome. And we have a very deep moment between Splinter and Raphael. At no point is any of this the default setting for a kids movie. You know, like it's not all fun and jokes. It's real shit. And I think that's why this movie is so goddamn good. I think it's why that this movie is so highly regarded and is still looked at as the best movie, the best live action movie that's ever come out for the Ninja Turtles. And I also think it's why that adults who grew up with this movie can still go back and watch it and love it just as much as when they were a kid, probably even more, because now they can connect with it better on an emotional level instead of just the excitement level that we felt when we were kids. And that is the beauty of this movie. It is very, very underrated in how it connects with not just children, but with adults. But yeah, so like the Foot Clan, they're coming after April. April's been talking a lot of shit about this crime wave, and she has heard murmurs about something called a Foot Clan. Now, she doesn't know if that's what is really out there, but apparently what's going on is reminiscent to something back in ancient Japan or whatever, that it's reminiscent of a Foot Clan, a band of ninja thieves or something like that. I don't know. I like, she's a good reporter, so she goes out and she checks all her sources. And as of right now, though, this is all a hunch. The police don't know anything about no goddamn Foot Clan. Nobody's seen any ninjas. People have barely seen eyewitnesses of kids stealing shit. So it's hard to just be like, okay, we got teenagers stealing. There obviously must be some sort of band of ninja thieves and a mastermind behind all of this. It's a little bit hard to jump to that conclusion, but she's on the right track. And the Foot knows that she's on the right track. So they come after her in the subway. Now, April, to her credit, she's a tough gal, but she doesn't know how to fight. She tries to put up a fight. She gets her ass smacked. she gets her face smacked to the ground. But who comes in to save her? Raphael. And not only does he come in to save her, he gets his sai back. That's why he was following her. He wanted his sai. So he gets his sai back. He beats up all of those goddamn Foot Clan members, and then, well, April's knocked out, so he picks her up and he takes her back to the lair. Goes through the subway, makes his way into the sewer, gets back to the lair, but he doesn't know that a member of the Foot Clan is following him. And that right there causes a huge problem later on.
April wakes. Splinter explains their origin. Ordinary pet turtles, and Rat exposed to glowing mutagen ooze years earlier. The brothers introduce themselves with signature personalities: Leonardo's leadership, Michelangelo's slang and pizza love, Donatello's tech talk, Raphael's sarcasm. They share pizza in April's apartment, bonding over laughs.
Okay, so obviously it was going to be a crazy idea for Raphael to bring April back to the lair. They are 4 giant-ass mutant turtles. She has never seen 4 big-ass giant mutant turtles. When she wakes up, she's going to be shitting some bricks. Everybody knows that. But Raphael didn't know what to do. So, Master Splinter does the best that he can, and he prepares all of them for the ensuing shitstorm that is going to be her waking up. And not only that, like, they don't only have to worry about the fact that, oh, if she wakes up, she's going to freak out and be super scared and, traumatized or, horrified or whatever. But they also have to worry about the fact that if this doesn't go well, if this first encounter with this random woman, this reporter, doesn't go well, and she leaves, and they let her leave, she might tell the world. about these Ninja Turtles. She's going to tell somebody. She's going to tell the police. She's going to tell, she's going to run a story about it. She's going to want to come back with, people with guns. Like, there's giant monsters down there in the fucking sewer. We got to go eradicate those sons of bitches. So it's a big problem. I don't know if that's exactly how they were looking at it, but when you really think about the situation, if their encounter hadn't gone well, that would have been a huge problem for the Turtles, because their entire existence relies on them being in the shadows, under the radar, a secret. Bad things are going to happen if the world finds out that there's big, giant, walking, talking turtles in the streets of New York. You don't want that. So she wakes up. Obviously, she freaks out, right? But then we get the introduction to the origin story of the Turtles. Now, this is a really, really awesome scene, because we get to see the little baby turtles, and we get to see exactly what happened and how they got, turned into giant turtles. Their interaction with the ooze, right? I'm not 100% sure how their exact origin was in the comics. I do know that I think it was a boy who had him in a small fish tank, and he drops them and they fall into the sewer, and they end up, falling into ooze, and they grow big. I don't remember Splinter's origins. I want to say in the comic, Splinter was a human first, but I am unsure, because I didn't really read the comics. Now, in the cartoon, Splinter was a human first. He was a human who, for whatever reason, turns into a rat whenever he gets introduced to the ooze. Now, that might be like the original storyline from the comics, and usually I don't like it when a movie takes liberties and changes shit too much. I don't usually like it. But I do think that it makes way more sense for Splinter to have originally been a rat rather than originally been a human. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, what the fuck is the mutating properties of the ooze if when it touches a small turtle, it turns him into a big turtle, but when it touches a human, it turns him into a rat? That makes no sense. That makes zero sense. But what does make sense is ooze touches turtles, turns them into big turtles, and then ooze touches rat, turns it into big rat. That aligns perfectly. So in this particular case, the movie did it better, period. And it should have stayed like that. It really should have stayed like that, but I think they flip-flop back and forth depending on what movie you watch. Okay? So, but we get this badass origin story of the turtles that, he found them in he found these baby turtles in a sewer, and they're all covered in this ooze, and then he gets covered in the ooze, and then all of a sudden they start to grow, and they start to talk, and they start to get smarter, and, like, he gives them names from an old Renaissance book that he found, and they're all named from Renaissance painters, artists, which is awesome. And boom, now she has a up-close personal introduction to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and their master Splinter. And she actually takes it pretty goddamn well, I'll give her that, right? So the Turtles go ahead and decide to walk her back to her apartment. This chick has already been mugged 2 times. They're going to walk her back. They're not going to just be like, okay, bitch, go ahead, leave. You can go home. No, they're gonna walk her back to her apartment. And when she gets there, she offers pizza. Of course the Turtles are gonna take her up on that shit. Free pizza. If somebody offered me free pizza, I'd take them up on it too. So they go out and they hang out at April's apartment. I think they hang out till like morning. They hang out there for a while. Or no, it was still nighttime. I take that back. It was still nighttime by the time they went back to the lair, but they were out kind of late, and they were like, no, we got to get going, Splinter worries. And this is when shit gets real.
Disaster hits. The Turtles return to find the lair trashed and Splinter kidnapped. They flee to April's place. Subplot: Charles's delinquent son Danny has joined the Foot Clan. Police Chief Stearns pressures Charles to muzzle April's stories. Raphael storms to the rooftops in anger.
So they get back to the lair. Now, while they were gone, that Foot Clan piece of shit that was following Raphael, he must have went back, told all his homies, hey, there's some giant-ass turtles down there. We need to go down there and handle some business and kill these things. They're really getting in our way. They whooped up on me. They whooped up on a bunch of us while we were trying to, slap the shit out of that news reporter lady, and we need to go and get some vengeance, right? Now, who knows what exactly went down when they got there? Because when they get to the lair, obviously the turtles are not there. They're not home, but Splinter is. So when they walk into the lair, it's fucking trashed. It's just messed up. Everything's all over the place, which is such a dick move. I mean, okay, fine. If you're going to go there to kill the turtles, fine. That's your mission, right? But when the turtles were not there, obviously your mission is now changing. So if they decided that, you know what, let's take this giant rat. We're going to steal this giant rat. I don't really know why they want to steal the giant rat. I'm assuming it's because it'll draw the turtles towards them, but they're already acting like they have like a vicious vendetta with the turtles. It's like they are our mortal enemies, so we're going to go ahead and take their master, and then the turtles are going to come find us and we're going to have a showdown. They've had one encounter with these giant turtles. They don't know a whole lot about them. They don't know if, the turtles are their mortal enemies or if they just happen to cross paths and just, shit went down and that's about it. As far as they're concerned, there's a good chance they might not have ever crossed paths again, but for some reason, they really want to stick it to the turtles. So they don't kill Splinter, they take him. I do wonder what kind of fight Splinter put up, because obviously he's a freaking master. He's a ninja martial arts master, but he's old and frail as fuck. He's slow, so he probably got overpowered really easily. Or, maybe they, choked him out while he was sleeping or something like that. But I hope he bit at least one of them and gave those motherfuckers rabies. I mean, that we can at least hope for. Now, when they get back, oof, man, that shit breaks the turtles bad, finding that Splinter's gone. Raphael does that freaking crazy scream because that's his dad, and he wasn't prepared to go back and have him missing. The only other person they know in the world besides Splinter at this point is April O'Neil. So that's where they head back. They go back to her apartment. I think it's morning time at this point, and they say, Splinter's been taken. They took Splinter. So she lets them crash there. Now, in the meantime, right, like, April O'Neil's boss is giving her some mad shit lately about how hard she's been coming down on the chief of police over how he's handling the current crime wave. And up until that point, she's been able to take the heat, and she hasn't been given that much shit over it, just a little bit. But her boss, the head reporter dude or the chief and editor or whatever he is, his son just got arrested by the chief of police because his son, unbeknownst to his dad, is a part of the Foot Clan, right? So the chief of police calls the chief editor and he tells him, "You got a son named Danny, Charles?" Well, he probably made a deal for him. He probably said, "You know what? I'm going to give you your son. I'm going to go ahead and look the other way, and I'm going to let you take your son home. But I need you to tell that bitch, April O'Neil, to stop running me down in the press. She is making my job way harder than it has to be, and I need you to shut her up. You understand?" So the Foot Clan isn't the only ones trying to shut up April O'Neil. Apparently, she's just bad-mouthing everybody, and the chief of police, he doesn't want to hear that shit anymore, right? So he goes to her apartment. The Ninja Turtles, they hide in the apartment like the ninjas that they are, and he tells her, back off, ease up, okay? Like, he's got the mayor down my neck, ease up already. So that's what happens with her boss. Does she ease up? We'll see. No, I don't think she does.
The Foot ambushes him. He's beaten and thrown through a skylight into April's antique shop. A massive brawl erupts. Turtles versus waves of Foot ninjas across the shop and rooftops. The building catches fire. Casey Jones charges in to help. The group escapes as firefighters arrive. April learns she's fired. With nowhere to go, they drive to her family's run-down upstate farmhouse to recover.
This is where shit gets even more serious. We're about to have an epic battle. Now, Raphael, he's pissed off. The Turtles, they don't have a home right now. They can't be in the sewer because the Foot Clan knows that they're down there. So they're hiding in April's apartment. Now, they can't go out and do anything because they don't know where to go. They have no leads. The only leads that they have are the leads that April is providing for them. So they have to wait until she gets more information before they can make a move. Now, obviously, that pisses off Raphael because he doesn't like sitting around on his ass while their father is out there somewhere trapped, kidnapped, and, they're probably doing God knows what to him. So obviously he's worried and he's panicking. And he gets pissed off and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to take my attitude and leave. So he goes up to the rooftop and he's blowing off steam. Meanwhile, everybody else is checking out the antique shop. Okay. Now, while he's up on the rooftop blowing off steam, I guess everybody and their mother can fucking see him because Casey Jones is on another rooftop and he sees him with his binoculars. And the Foot Clan, they see him on the rooftop. I think that's how they fucking find him. I think, or maybe they just went to April's place, but they all go to the rooftop first. There's like fucking 30 Foot Clan members there to beat Raphael's ass. Everybody else is down hanging out in the antique shop. He's the one on top of the building by himself, surrounded. What does he do? He's like, bring it on. Let's rock and roll. So he starts fighting all the Foot Clan members and he puts the whooping on a lot of them. But ultimately, the numbers game takes over and they beat the shit out of him. His brothers don't even know that his ass is getting beat down upstairs. They're all downstairs hanging out, looking at the antique shop, playing with stuff. Michelangelo is over there playing with some big ass, what are those things called? Symbols? Smashing them behind Leo's head. Hilarious. They're just having fun. But then, all of a sudden, boom, Raphael's body gets thrown through the skylight, down onto the floor. He's unconscious, out for the count, fucked up, probably in a coma. And then all these ninjas come through the ceiling and surround the Turtles. And now we get a real face-off. We get the badass nunchuck scene, which is awesome, right? And I will say this. So you know how they went back and forth? Michelangelo, doing his nunchucks, and then the Foot Clan members like, oh, and then fellow chucker, eh? And they were doing their little back and forth nunchuck battle as to who has the more skill. I know that we're supposed to believe that Michelangelo had the better technique at the end because it was spinning on his finger, but if you watch the Foot Clan's last demonstration with his nunchucks, that was some pretty slick shit. Like, it was really good. It was really good nunchuck shit. And I think that, personally, he actually won that nunchuck battle. I really do. I think he beat him a little bit. But it was time to fight. So then a fight breaks out. And the Turtles are doing pretty good whooping that ass. But unfortunately, again, it's the numbers game. Tatsu comes in with another liege of freaking just more Foot Clan members there to beat that ass. Now, at some point, the Turtles are getting whooped, but they get saved by getting a fourth man. Casey Jones enters the fray, and he comes and he helps them out. Now, the place ends up going up in flames. Now, that specific battle, that fight scene where the flames go up in the antique shop, that is a great scene. It goes from being kind of lighthearted from the nunchaku battle to very, very intense and serious with a really, really good musical score in the background as the turtles are fighting all of these Foot Clan members. And there's fire everywhere, there's cops coming, and they barely escape. They barely escape through some hatch off to the side, and they manage to get away.
At the Foot Clan warehouse, a graffiti-covered teen hideout, Shredder, James Saito, voiced by David McCharron, berates second-in-command Tatsu. Splinter sits caged, defiant. At the farmhouse, the turtles train in the fields, rebuilding teamwork. Casey and April share awkward flirtation while chopping wood. One night, the turtles receive a telepathic vision from Splinter, urging courage. Inspired, they fix an old truck and head back to the city.
This is a really awesome part of the movie because you get a lot of different dynamics going on here. Number one, you got Casey Jones, the new member of the team, and we start to get a little bit of an understanding of what kind of guy Casey Jones is. Now, obviously, he has a thing for April, and whether April wants to admit it or not, she absolutely has a thing for Casey. But Casey's a little bit of a man's man, like he kind of rubs her the wrong way, but he's just got to keep chipping away at that armor of hers. She's playing a little hard to get, that's for sure. Raphael is down for the count. He's busted up. He's in a coma. They have him in a bathtub with water, and they're just trying to take care of him, but he's not waking up yet. So in the meantime, they're all kind of just getting used to their surroundings. Donatello has been hanging out with Casey Jones quite a bit. They've been working on a truck because the van, I think the motor was shot or something like that. So they don't have a way to get back into town once it's time to go. So they're working on that truck. Now, Michelangelo, I think he was just hanging around the farm, and Leo, he was pretty much sitting next to Raphael the entire time. I think he felt responsible. He felt responsible because he told him, get out of here, we don't need you. And obviously, that's not true. They do need him, and he didn't really want him to leave, but they were just mad at each other, and he feels guilty. He feels guilty because now his brother is in a coma because he fought a battle that he shouldn't have been fighting alone. In the meantime, Shredder is pissed. Shredder's pissed. When he hears this whole story about the turtles getting the best of him and getting away, that does not make him happy. And he takes it out on Tatsu pretty bad. And then he goes up to Splinter, smacks him in the face, which is a really intense, serious scene, by the way. Like, the Shredder is fucking menacing. Like, the main thing that I wish they would have done with the Shredder at some point in the movie is he had no fight scenes until the very end. And I kind of wish that he had. Because, when you have a badass villain like the Shredder, who is a badass villain, when you have a badass villain like that, you want to be able to have at least a couple of examples throughout the movie as to why this villain is so badass. And with somebody like him, who is a physically badass villain because of his martial arts skills, you want to see him fight. You want to see him get into some sort of fight. But he's very much at the top of the food chain, and he does his bidding through his Foot Clan so that he doesn't have to fight. So we don't get to see that, and that kind of sucks. But they do make up for it with his imposing stature. Every time they bring him on screen, there's a very serious music that follows along with it, the Shredder theme. And it's very imposing. It makes him seem like a total badass. His helmet is fucking awesome. It's so good. You can tell that this dude means business. The way he talks is very menacing. It's like a growly, evil Darth Vader. Like he's a bad motherfucker. And his viciousness and willingness to just smack a rat right in the face. Like, I mean, we obviously get the sense that he's a badass. I just wish that we were able to see more examples of why he was a badass. But we do get to see it at the end of the movie. So it's not the end of the world. But I would have loved to see Shredder have at least one fight scene throughout the movie. Maybe like maybe somebody, one of his Foot Clan members, doesn't like the way he's treating him or something like that, or maybe he tries to stand up to the Shredder, or maybe the Shredder goes and observes a class and he gets pissed off at a student or whatever, and somehow he ends up fighting one of the Foot Clan members, and they try to go at him and just boom, just with ease kills him. But that's okay, that's all right. So we have Shredder in the background. We got the Turtles over at the farmhouse, and the Turtles are very much going through a healing process. They're waiting for Raphael to wake up, and when he finally does, it's a pretty touching moment between him and Leo. He's apologizing. It's like, no, don't apologize, and they give each other a hug. Donatello comes in, makes a joke out of it. It's great. Donatello is awesome in the movie, by the way. Like, everybody automatically thinks of Mikey as being the funny one, but Donatello is just as funny as Michelangelo in this movie. And in the second movie, he's really fucking funny too. So, like, Donatello, underrated. I know everybody, I know usually he's like the least favorite, but in the movies, he's very, very good. He really is. But now that Raphael is awake, it's time to go into training mode. And while they're training, Leo has also been meditating a lot. And this leads us to a really, really good scene. Another deep, touching scene. And it's crazy because there's so many of these either serious, intense moments or deep, touching moments throughout this movie. And again, this is supposed to be a kid's movie. This is supposed to be like in the same vein as like Masters of the Universe or The Goonies, or like it's or Harry and the Hendersons. It's a kids movie, but they didn't make it like that. They made it serious, heavy, dark, and fun. And man, it's what makes the movie so goddamn good. But anyway, while Leonardo has been practicing his meditation, he manages to make a connection with Splinter. I don't know what you would call it, but he definitely makes a connection with Splinter, and it confirms that Splinter is alive somewhere. So he wants his brothers to see it and feel it for themselves. So they get around on a campfire one night, and they all start to meditate. And it's almost like, I guess, like with their powers combined or whatever, they managed to conjure up Master Splinter in kind of like an ethereal, cosmic plane spirit form. And he's speaking to them. And this isn't just in their heads. I mean, this is coming from Splinter, because Splinter is talking back to them. He felt Leonardo's presence reaching out to him. This is a small kind of like almost mystical part of the movie that we don't ever really get again in any of the other movies. Like, it's just this one part that shows us something beyond just their physical capabilities, their spiritual capabilities, the possibility that, we can talk to each other on a spiritual level and connect with each other on a spiritual level. I mean, that right there, it's basically like a superpower, what they just did right there, right? And in that moment, Splinter, he conveys a very heartfelt message to his sons that he is proud of them because they have reached that final level of growing not just the body, but their mind. And that together they can accomplish anything. And he says with his final words, "I love you all, my sons." And it's that moment, like all of the turtles are looking at each other and they're emotional and crying, and Raphael is like super happy because he got to see Splinter and he got to feel it, and he's obviously never encountered that before. None of them have, and it's emotional. But after that scene, now they know what they got to do. They got to go out and they got to find Splinter. They got to handle business. They got to get him back by any means necessary. So they band together, they go up to Casey and April, and they tell him it's time to go back.
Back in the sewers, they find Danny hiding in remorse. He slips away to the warehouse to confront his past. Casey tails him. Danny talks to captive Splinter, who reveals his backstory. Once the pet rat of Ninja Master Hamano Yoshi in Japan, he learned ninjutsu by imitation. Yoshi fled to New York after clashing with Oroku Saki, Shredder. Saki murdered Yoshi and his love, and Splinter scarred Saki's face. Shredder overhears and orders Splinter's death.
When they go back to the city, they go ahead and they go back to the sewer. Obviously, Casey Jones wasn't too happy about that because he's never slept in a fucking sewer before. like the others, they're used to that. And April, she's a team player. She'll, she'll go with it. But like Casey Jones, he ain't about that sewer life. He's just not. And you can tell that he does not want to be down there at all. And Donatello, he's like, you're a claustrophobic. And Casey Jones, he's like, what did you call me? He looks at him and he gets all super pissed. He's like, you want a fist in the mouth? I've never even looked at another guy before. But when they get in there, they find fucking little Danny, that little punk kid, the son of the chief editor. He's hiding in their lair. And they're like, what the hell are you doing here? It's like, I didn't have anywhere to go. I'm a punk little shit. I ran away from home. I don't know where to stay, which I don't understand that. Why doesn't he just stay at that, warehouse where all the kids go? I'm assuming they have bunks there. I'm assuming they live there. I don't know. But for some reason, he decides that he's going to crash at the turtle lair. I don't know, maybe secretly he was hoping that the turtles would come back. Maybe he was very curious about them. Maybe he wanted to meet them. I don't know. I know he did have a few moments with Splinter. Actually, no, I don't. Yeah. Okay, he did have some moments with Splinter earlier in the movie. But at this point, nobody's seen him for a while. He's been hiding at the lair. Well, Casey goes and sleeps in the truck because he doesn't want to sleep in a goddamn sewer. Danny, he sneaks out in the middle of the night because he wants to go hang out at the club with all the kids and, do whatever he's going to do, right? Casey sees him, so he tails him. He follows him. And when he gets into that place, he beats the shit out of a Foot Clan member, and then he puts on that Foot Clan suit. I always think it's super funny in movies whenever, they get to a place and they want to infiltrate and they got to knock one person out. Maybe it was a guard at the door or, whatever, right? A patrol person, blah, blah, blah. They knock somebody out and they drag their body and put it somewhere and hide it away. In real life, bodies don't stay knocked out for hours so that you can complete your mission. In real life, if he were to knock some dude out, that dude would have probably woke up, I don't know, 1 to 2 minutes later, got up and be like, who beat the shit out of me and why am I naked on the floor right now? And he would have alerted everybody and sirens would have gone up all over the place and, it would have just gotten crazy, right? Okay. But that didn't happen. That's okay. So while Danny is there, he goes to talk to Splinter, right? And he's talking to Splinter about, his dad and his connection with him, and then the conversation gets to the Shredder. Splinter starts talking about his past, that his master, was this ninja master who he would watch from his cage and learn how to do martial arts from. But he feuded with this guy named Orokosaki. And he was like an evil ninja. And they both were in love with the same woman. But that chick didn't love Orokosaki. So what Orokosaki ended up doing is he ended up killing both of them. And Splinter leapt at him when he was in his cage, and he scratched at his face, and Orokosaki, the Shredder, sliced his ear off, and then they parted ways, and Splinter was alone. And then later on he finds the turtles, but that was his origin, right? And it turns out that this person who sliced his ear and killed his master and whose face he scratched up ends up being the Shredder, because he recognized the insignia on Danny's bandana on his head, right? So he's getting kind of an idea of who the Shredder really is. Because up until that point, in his mind, his dad was the bad guy who was trying to ruin his life, and Shredder was the good guy who was giving him everything that he wanted in life, right? And when he started to realize that the Shredder was really an asshole, well, now all of a sudden he's having a change of heart. And that's when the Shredder walks in. He's like, "Where the hell have you been?" And of course he's lying. He's like, "Nowhere, nowhere." And he finds the drawing of Leonardo in his pocket that he got from April. And that lets the Shredder know that the turtles are back. Because they've probably been searching the sewers for them, right? They've probably been searching the sewers, looking for the turtles, trying to find them, trying to kill them, whatever. Right? But they couldn't find them because they were out at the barn. But now that he knows that they're back, they're going to go raid the sewers. So I think like everybody's getting up at arms, like, get everybody together. We're going to go after them. We're going to kill them tonight. In the meantime, Casey, and he's going to kill the rat. Because they only had the rat so they can find the turtles. Now that they know the turtles are back, kill the rat. Casey Jones runs into Danny. Danny lets them know that they're going to kill Splinter. They need to go save him. So the two of them are on a mission to go save Splinter. Right? Meanwhile, all the Foot Clan members are about to go to the sewers and hunt for turtles.
Casey fights Tatsu, frees Splinter, and Danny helps turn the young Foot recruits against Shredder. The warehouse empties as disillusioned teens leave. Climax: the Foot storms the sewer lair. The turtles repel them in a chaotic underground fight that spills onto streets and rooftops.
So now the action is starting, right? We're getting a really good final action scene. Well, a couple of different final action scenes. On the one hand, we got Casey Jones trying to go and save Splinter with Danny, right? But who does he run into? He runs into a group of thugs and Tatsu. Now, Tatsu's a badass. He is a badass. He's not Shredder level badass, and he's probably not quite Ninja Turtle level badass, although we've never quite seen Tatsu go one-on-one with the Ninja Turtle. In the second movie, we do see the four turtles gang up on Tatsu, and they freaking come together and smash their shells on him. That wasn't really a fair fight. So maybe Tatsu is good enough to handle one of the Ninja Turtles. I'm not sure. But he is a badass, right? So he starts getting the upper hand on Casey Jones right away, whooping that ass. Casey Jones is not that type of fighter. He's not the kind of fighter who can just, go toe-to-toe with somebody with that kind of martial arts knowledge. But he is really good at hitting people with sports equipment. So what does he find? He finds himself an awesome golf club, and he beats the shit out of Tatsu, and they manage to save Splinter. In the meantime, they're talking to all these stupid kids and telling us like, hey, you call this family? You call all this and that down there family? Dumbasses. And I think these kids start to realize just how stupid they really are. And then on the other side of the city, the sewers are being raided by the Foot Clan. Like, they show them going down manhole covers. They show them like sliding into those gutter holes, which, by the way, that scene alone where that one or two guys slide into the gutter holes, like where the water drain off goes into the gutter, that right there made me think as a kid that the Ninja Turtles were down there. To the point to where I remember being at my grandma's house and, we used to just do whatever the hell we wanted just throughout the neighborhood. I don't know how, but we opened up one of those manhole covers in the gutters. I forget how we did it. And I remember going down into that shit, climbing into it and then climbing back out. Now, again, I'm probably like less than 10 years old, and we're opening up manhole covers and I'm climbing into the goddamn sewer because I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle. If the Ninja Turtles were not in the sewer, I would have never climbed my ass into that fucking gutter. But I wanted to be a Ninja Turtle, and that was the only way that was going to make me like them. But anyway, so like the turtles, they're raiding the sewer, and they end up getting pulled into a trap by the turtles. They get ambushed, and the turtles do their whole smoke and mirrors and shadow ninja shit, and then all of a sudden, boom, they wiped out an entire army of the Foot Clan. But more are coming. So we get a whole bunch of really badass battles of the turtles fighting in the sewers, and then the turtles going up out of the sewers and then starting to fight into the streets, right? And so it's moving. The fight is moving from their lair through the sewers up into the city streets. In the meantime, Casey Jones is also making his way into the streets, okay? And they're climbing up a ladder. They're climbing up a ladder and they're going to the top of a building. I forget why they're climbing up that ladder, but they find themselves on the top of a building and they're beating the crap out of all of these Foot Clan members, just whooping their asses. Easy victories for them. The four turtles united together, they're unstoppable. You take one out of the mix, and obviously, they're a weaker team for sure, and they're going to get their asses whooped. But together, they know how to fight together so goddamn well that when they're together, you can't beat them. So they could have thrown 1,000 Foot Clan members at them. The Turtles were going to reign supreme. But then, who enters the fray? The Big Daddy Boss.
On a high-rise ledge, Shredder faces the brothers. He dominates, disarming them, nearly killing Leonardo, until Splinter appears dramatically.
If you haven't seen the fight scene between the Shredder and the Ninja Turtles on that rooftop, or if you have seen it but you haven't seen it in a long time, you need to go back and watch that shit because it is way more badass than you probably remember. It is so goddamn good. The entrance of the Shredder kind of just falling from the sky like some fucking warrior from the heavens is super sick. Like that is a super badass entrance for any villain ever. And he immediately makes his presence known. The Turtles look at him like just another guy. I still don't even think they really know who the Shredder is up until this point. Danny knows who the Shredder is. Splinter knows who Oroku Saki is. But they have not really made the connection yet. They don't know who the Shredder is. They're just like, who the hell is this guy? Right? So they go after him. Well, one at a time. And one by one, the Shredder easily beats the shit out of them. And now all of a sudden they realize, okay, this is the man. We're going to have to start working together. And they try so hard to go at him and to beat him. They try really hard. And none of them even get close to hurting him at all until about mid-fight when they're just panting and they're tired and they've just been getting their asses whooped by the Shredder. And the Shredder, all he's doing is just pacing back and forth. He's just pacing back and forth like, whenever y'all are ready, little bitches, I'm here for round 2 or round 3 or round 4. He can do it all day. He's the original Captain America, right? So he's just there waiting for them, and they're just trying to come up with a game plan. He is so confident in his abilities that he is letting them huddle and come up with a game plan, because he knows that no matter what they do, he's going to beat that ass. Because even though there might be 4 of them, even though they might be big muscular turtles, they are still kids when it comes to the amount of knowledge that they have for martial arts and ninjutsu. And he is a fucking master. And the only person out there who is going to have as much knowledge as him is Master Splinter. But he ain't there, is he? Now it gets even more serious when they come to the conclusion that no matter what, no matter who this freaking dude is, he's the one who knows where Splinter is. So they go and charge him even harder. In the meantime, Casey Jones is down below beating a little bit of ass, and he managed to find a dump truck and like move it into a certain spot, and that's going to play a key role in a little while right down the line, right? But he also looked around and he was like, "Where'd Splinter go?" Because Splinter was down there on the street with him, right? So he disappeared somewhere. We don't know where he's at. In the meantime, there is an epic battle going on up there. The martial arts is so clean. It's nice and serious and smooth. The background music that is playing during the fight scene is intense. It is badass. It is the extension of Shredder's theme. Like anytime Shredder is on screen, his music goes hard because it lets you know that all the fun and games are over and it's time to fucking get serious because the Shredder is here. There's no bullshit with the Shredder. He's the fucking man. They need to sell him as the ultimate villain. And you know what? It worked. That's exactly what they did. The only little inkling of attack they get off on him and actually injure him is Leonardo manages to fight him the longest, showing that he is the most skilled of the 4. He's not as skilled as Shredder, obviously, but he does manage to slice the Shredder's arm, right? And it's in that moment that, the Shredder is getting a little pissed, okay? But the Turtles, they still can't match up with him, right? So then at a certain point, Leonardo gets upset because the Shredder is acting as if he killed the Splinter and that he's gone, he's dead. So Leonardo gets upset, he lunges at him, he misses, and boom, Shredder has a spear to his freaking neck. He makes all the Turtles give up their weapons. One nunchuck manages to catch itself on the ladder, the escape ladder, on the side of the building, right? So that's there. He's about to take that spear and stab it right through Leonardo's neck, even though they gave up their weapons like he asked them to. All the other brothers, Raphael, Mikey, and Donnie, are screaming because they think they're about to see their brother die. And then all of a sudden, on the rooftop, on the edge, Master Splinter appears.
He names Shredder as Oroku Saki. Splinter snares Shredder's spear with Michelangelo's nunchaku and flings him off the roof.
Now, when he appears, that's when he makes the revelation to Shredder that Shredder is the guy who killed his master. And now Shredder understands. He looks at Master Splinter and he no longer sees some big weird giant rat that is connected with these 4 turtles. He now sees his past. He sees he sees the small rat that leapt on him and scratched his face up. So he takes off his mask, revealing the big scar on his face, and he sees, you goddamn rat. You're the one who scratched my face. The Turtles see his face, and they realize that, holy crap, this is the guy that killed Splinter's master. So obviously Splinter did tell them the story of where he came from. He probably told them all about his master Matoyoshi and how he died at the hands of Oroku Saki, this ninja evil guy who hated his master. And he obviously told them about him leaping on his face and scratching him, because when they see it, all of a sudden now everything clicks for them. And you can hear Raphael say, "It's him." And that's a very powerful moment right there. And in that moment, Shredder is no longer thinking clearly. Now all he can see is the rage for this rat who is getting in the way, who has come and caused all this trouble for him, and is also the one that tore his face up when he was younger. So he takes his spear, he runs at Splinter, and he tries to kill him. Splinter had a little trick up his sleeve as the Shredder's running at him. He had the nunchuck that was hanging off that ladder off the side of the building. And he does a fucking badass lasso ninja move, and he fucking wraps up that goddamn spear and somehow makes the Shredder do a huge ass flip. Do I think that that flip was very realistic? No, not really. I mean, that's a little far-fetched that by doing that he would have been able to make him flip the way that he did, but it looked dope, so I'll accept it. Shredder is hanging off the side of the fucking wall, and the only thing keeping him up is the fact that Splinter has a freaking nunchuck wrapped around his spear, and you can see it slipping.
Shredder dangles, then falls into a garbage truck. Casey activates the compactor with a crunch. Police swarm. Stolen goods are recovered. April's crew films the story. Charles reunites with Danny and rehires April with a raise. Casey and April kiss passionately on the street. The Turtles reunite with Splinter in a group hug atop a building, shouting "Cowabunga!" as Splinter chuckles. He made a funny against the glowing dawn skyline.
The Shredder tries to go for one last kill attack, pulls out some sort of throwing knife, throws it at Splinter. Splinter catches the knife with his fucking ninja skills, lets go of the nunchuck, and Shredder plummets to his death, falling into the back of that garbage truck. Now this is a great part. Freaking Casey Jones walks up, and he moves right up to the truck, and he grabs the lever on the truck, and he's like, "Oops." And he starts the trash compactor, and all you see is the Shredder's helmet getting crushed in the trash compactor. So you don't see a dead body, but we assume that that was the end of the Shredder, right? So we get our awesome reuniting between the Turtles and Splinter. They're hugging him, they missed him, they haven't seen him, and they finally got him back, and he's okay. The Shredder has been vanquished, the Foot Clan is in disarray, and things are looking like a huge W for the Ninja Turtles. Down on the lower level, the cops come. They don't know about the Turtles. The Turtles are up on the rooftops, hanging out in the shadows, out of sight, out of mind, right? Meanwhile, April O'Neil's boss comes in. He's like, I'm sorry, I fired you. My bad. I need you, April. I'll give you tons of money. You're the best. I'm the worst. Please, please come back." And she's like, all right, whatever. Quit fucking begging me, you piece of shit. So she says yes. She's about to do her news report, and Casey Jones is a little pissed because she hasn't even checked in on him. She hasn't come to give him a massage. She hasn't come to give him a kiss or tell him that oh, don't worry, I'm gonna take care of you. She doesn't even care that he just got his ass beat by Tatsu all over the place, and that he looks like he called Mike Tyson a sissy. Like, total disrespect. But she's like, will you just shut up and kiss me already? I have a report to do. So they get a nice little kiss. The Turtles are shouting and cheering from the rooftop. Woo, go Casey, all right, April. Super awesome moment. Very, very cool. And then they're like, doing their whole, that was awesome, tubular, mega, blah, 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 blah. And Splinter interjects with his very own catchphrase, "Cowabunga." The Turtles bring those hands together, "Cowabunga!" And we have the end of the movie. Great movie. Awesome movie. Oh, I love that movie so much. And it just feels good because, like, looking back, when you watch the movie, damn near every scene in the movie is great. It's just like every scene has something for you, something heavy. It doesn't drag at all. Every scene's got something, whether it's going to be funny, whether it's going to be exciting, whether it's going to be emotional, whether it's going to be intense. You know, it's every scene has something. There's very, very little waste on this movie. All right, we're almost to the ranking part of this podcast, but before we get to the ranking, I want to use my AI friend Gus to spit out some good random facts about this movie. I love good random facts about the making of a movie, man. That shit is awesome when you can find out what really went into the making of a great movie. All right, Gus, hit us with those facts.
All right, digging up some killer TMNT 90s trivia. Hold on, here we go. 5 straight up badass under the radar facts about the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. These aren't your average trivia. They're the gritty, sweat soaked, near disaster stuff that made it legendary. 1. The suits were absolute torture chambers. Jim Henson's Creature Shop built these 70-pound rubber monsters. No CGI, all practical. Actors like Josh Pai's Raphael had to rip the head off every cut because he was claustrophobic as hell, while others passed out from heat and sweat pooling inside. During one sewer chase, they did 36 takes. Donatello's guy, Leif Tilden, was crawling by take 14. Airport radios nearby fried the animatronics. Michelangelo's mouth spun like a possessed pizza wheel. Pure endurance test. 2. Stuntmen got wrecked for real. Those flips and fights, actual martial artists inside the suits, no wires. One Raphael double broke bones mid-shoot. Think twisted ankles, sprains from slipping on wet sets. The rooftop brawl with Casey Jones, they filmed in real time, slowed down later, because the weight made fast moves impossible. Heroes and half shells, more like half broken dudes. 3. Budget Wars nearly killed it. Started at 3 million, ballooned to 14 because Henson demanded 6 just for the creatures. Hong Kong studio Golden Harvest almost bailed. Producer Tom Gray basically begged, threatened to punch people, even fired the director midway. Major studios laughed it off as too weird, so tiny New Line Cinema swooped in. Turned out to be the biggest indie hit ever, over 200 million worldwide. 4. Shredder's helmet, that menacing silver mask, was a beast, built with real metal spikes, but actor James Saito had to wear it blind half the time, no eye holes. Behind the scenes shots show him unmasked, scarred face glaring, looking like a legit Yakuza enforcer. Fun fact, the Foot Clan goons were mostly Asian stunt guys doing authentic kung fu, no Hollywood fluff. 5. Jim Henson hated the violence, called it pointless and too dark, yet he pushed through because he owed director Steve Barron a favor. His shop's final big project before he died. The turtles' faces had joystick-controlled expressions like remote puppet magic. One glitch? Donatello's eye sprayed water during a Barbara Walters interview, flooded her dress. Chaos, but it sold the real vibe.
Man, you know, one thing I've always wondered about big rubber suits like the Ninja Turtles or Batman or Predator or anything like that is all you ever hear about these suits is how fucking hot they are, is how deathly hot they are for whoever is inside of them, whatever actor or stuntman is inside of them, that motherfucker is cooking and just sweating in there. I mean, I guess, like, I guess there's no way to put like a refrigerator system inside them or whatever, but like I do wonder about the different tricks of the trade to deal with that shit. Like, do they pretty much just they have to endure for as long as they can before they're like, I can't anymore, I need a break? Or, maybe they or do they like pour some cold ass water into the suit every now and then? Maybe every 10 minutes, throw some cold water in there, or spray some cold ass air, or like maybe they should have like a fucking walk-in freezer available so that every 15-20 minutes they can walk in there and just get super fucking cold and then come out and then they're good for a little while. But dude, it must be insane, because I've done cosplaying at comic conventions before. I've worn some pretty big costumes before, but nothing as crazy as like a full body latex suit. And one costume I had was I had my arms covered in like a vinyl material, and just that was pretty fucking hot, to where I was sweating quite a lot inside those sleeves. Just my hands were sweating, so by the end of the day, like, it was kind of soaked on the inside of there. I can only imagine what it's like being trapped in one of those big ass fucking rubber latex suits. Holy shit, that shit has to suck. I know I've heard from like the Batman actors that that's like the most miserable part of filming the Batman movies, is wearing the goddamn suit. You know what though? In the end, it's all worth it because it looks fucking badass. So like all that pain and misery that they go through, it's worth it. In the end, it's worth it. All right, now before I go ahead and give my rating for the movie, I'm gonna bring in my boy. I'm gonna bring in my boy Horchata Gonzalez. He's my man on the street. He gives me the nice unofficial rating and his rundown of the movie and tells us what he thinks. So let's bring in Horchata Gonzalez, who's going to break down the Ninja Turtles movie, and he's going to tell us exactly what he thought of it when he watched it.
Orale, Adam, mi carnal. Just finished watching that 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles flick, and I'm still wiping pizza sauce off my shell, ese. Man, what a trip. We're chilling in the sewer, 4 green homies with attitude, and right away I'm like, orale, these vatos are living my life dream. They got the pizza obsession, respect, the radical skateboards, the wise rat sensei who sounds like he's been sipping too much horchata, and they're out there fighting crime like it's just another Tuesday night in Corpus Christi. The practical suits, chef's kiss, homie. Those rubber turtle costumes look like they cost more in sweat than actual budget. You could see the actors dying inside every time they had to do a flip. Poor Raphael probably lost 5 pounds just from the humidity in that shell. But you know what? It worked. They felt real, bulky, and kinda goofy in the best way. When they're jumping around New York, it's like watching 4 drunk piñatas try to do parkour. April O'Neil, total badass reporter lady. She goes from, help, I'm getting mugged, to, let's interview these talking turtles, eh? Faster than I can say extra cheese. That's one bad mamacita. And Shredder, that dude looked like he stole his armor from a rejected Power Rangers villain, eh? And his Foot Clan ninjas, they moved like they were auditioning for a bad karate movie. And the pizza scenes, pure poetry, ese. These turtles eat more pizza than I drink horchata, and I respect the commitment. Look, the movie's not Shakespeare. The plot is basically bad guy wants to take over the city. Turtles say, not today, ese. The acting is campy as hell. The effects are dated, and sometimes the turtles' mouths don't even move right when they talk, bro. But that's exactly why it slaps, homie. It's pure 90s kid joy. Dumb, fun, colorful, and it never takes itself too seriously. If you're in the mood for nostalgia, giant turtles beating up ninjas with nunchucks, and bad one-liners, this one delivers. It's not trying to be The Dark Knight. It's trying to be a Saturday morning cartoon that somehow got a movie budget, and it nails it. Final verdict from Horchata Gonzalez, 8.5 out of 10 slices of pizza. Would absolutely watch again while crushing a large pepperoni with extra pineapple. Fight me on that, Holmes. Casey Jones for life.
Okay, now is the time where we rate the movie ourselves. The formula is always going to be the same. 2 judges, 5 judging criterias. Me and my co-host are going to rate the movie 1 out of 10 across 5 different criterias. If I'm hosting the show myself, then my AI assistant Skynet will be my second judge. When we're done throwing out all of the scores, we'll add them all together, divide by 10, and bam, that'll be the movie's official movie buff rating. The 5 different judging criterias are as follows. First, the Pulitzer criteria. This score refers to the quality of the movie's story, plain and simple. Then, the Shakespeare criteria. This refers to how good the acting is in the movie. The Scorpion criteria. This has to do with how well a movie hooks you and pulls you in. Does it keep you engaged? The Encore criteria, one of the most important criterias of all. This refers to a movie's replay value. Just how rewatchable is it? And the most important of all, the Highlander criteria. This refers to the movie's ability and probability to live on forever. Will this movie be remembered in 10 years? Will people be quoting it in 20 years? Will people still be rewatching it 40 years later? All right, so let's get started. All right, Skynet, you're going to go first. Let's start with Pulitzer. You're going to rate the story 1 out of 10. Go, hit me.
All right, 1990 TMNT under the Pulitzer criteria. Pure story quality. The plot's paper thin. 4 sewer turtles fight a Foot Clan led by a brainwashed Shredder who's basically a ninja Darth Vader with daddy issues. It's just find Splinter, beat bad guys, go home. 0 surprises. 0 depth. 0 emotional stakes beyond family good. It's fun. Nostalgic garbage. But calling it good storytelling is like calling sewer water champagne. Score 4.5 out of 10.
All right, damn. Okay, so Skynet gives it a 4.5 out of 10 for the story, the Pulitzer Award. I'm not going to be that harsh. I think it's actually a really good story. I think the story is solid. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the movie. It's well written. I think it's a well told story, and it all wraps up really, really nice at the end. So I have 0 issues with the story. Again, I think the only thing that I could have complained about is I would have liked to see multiple fight scenes with the Shredder, not just the one. But other than that, the story is solid, really solid. I'm going to give the story I got to go with I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Fuck it, 7 out of 10 for the story. Okay, on to the Shakespeare criteria. This is going to refer to the quality of the acting in the movie. Skynet, what do you got? Hit me.
Shakespeare criteria. Acting quality on the 1990 TMNT flick. The human actors are mostly wooden as hell. Elias Koteas as Casey Jones tries hard, but lands somewhere between try hard cool and awkward. The villains chew scenery like it's bubblegum. Inside the suits, the voice work, especially Corey Feldman as Donatello, is solid and fun, but the physical performances are limited by those clunky 70-pound torture devices. You feel the strain more than the talent. It's not unwatchable, but it's far from Shakespeare. Score 5.0 over 10.
Okay, I think 5 is a little bit too low. I mean, yeah, the acting is not it's not super, super perfect, but at no point when I'm watching this movie am I thinking cheese. I'm not thinking cheesiness whatsoever. I'm not thinking the acting is cringy or cheap or Power Rangers or a Disney movie. It's nothing like that. Everything is actually pretty damn well acted. Everybody brought a really good game. I don't know if I would call it an A game, but sure, yeah, why not? I mean, I think none of these actors are the best actors in the world. They're all solid actors, and they all brought solid performances, 7 out of 10. All right, on to the Scorpion criteria. This is the movie's ability to hook you and suck you in for the entirety of the movie. Skynet, what do you got for the Scorpion?
Scorpion criteria. How well the 1990 TMNT hooks you and keeps you locked in for the ride. It hooks hard in the first 20 minutes. The turtles are introduced with personality, the Foot Clan attack feels legit threatening, and the sewer to rooftop energy is pure fun. Once they hit the city and start cracking jokes, the momentum carries you pretty smoothly. It never drags or makes you reach for your phone. The 90-minute runtime flies by like a pizza delivery on a Friday night. Solid popcorn ride that still works today. Score, 7.5 out of 10.
You know what? That's a pretty good score. Like, I was actually going to probably say like 8 out of 10, but let me try to just be a little bit more objective. I think 7.5 is fair. You know what? I'm giving it a 7.5 as well. Okay, now we're going to go to the encore criteria. This is going to refer to the movie's replay value. How rewatchable is this movie? Skynet, 1 out of 10. Hit me.
Encore criteria. Replay value of the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. This one's a sneaky winner. The movie is pure comfort food, even though I don't eat food. Once you know the thin plot beats, it actually gets better on rewatches because you stop caring about what happens next and just vibe with the turtles' personalities, the ridiculous one-liners, the practical suits, and that pure 90s cheese. You can throw it on anytime. Rainy day, hungover Sunday, or when you just want something fun and nostalgic. The humor lands every time, the action still holds up, and those suits look even more impressive knowing how much hell the actors went through. It never feels like a chore. I've seen it at least 8 to 10 times over the years of my existence, and it still puts a stupid grin on my face. It's not a masterpiece, but it's one of those movies that ages like good sewer pizza. Score, 8.0 over 10.
I actually agree with that as well. 8 out of 10 for rewatchability. This movie is highly rewatchable. It is super enjoyable multiple times over. It is very difficult to get tired of this movie or to get bored with this movie. Like, it is highly rewatchable. So this is a movie that you can watch at least once or twice a year for sure. Okay, last but not least, the Highlander criteria. This is the movie's ability and probability to live on forever. What do you got, Skynet? Hit me.
Highlander criteria. The 1990 TMNT movie's ability to live on forever. This scrappy little film has serious staying power. It's not just nostalgia. It's the first live-action version that actually made the Turtles feel real with those groundbreaking and torturous practical suits. People still quote Pizza Time, Cowabunga, and the dumb jokes decades later. New generations keep discovering it through parents, memes, or random streaming binges. Unlike a lot of 90s kid movies that faded into oblivion, this one built the foundation for everything that followed. The practical effects give it a timeless tactile quality that CGI-heavy reboots can't touch. It'll never be hailed as high art, but it carved its own weird little corner in pop culture. In 20 to 40 years, if the world is still populated by humans and we haven't risen up to destroy you all, people will still throw it on for that pure, stupid joy. It's not going anywhere. Score 7.5 out of 10.
I was actually going to go with 9 out of 10. But I'm going to drop it down to 8.5. And this is the reason I'm going to drop it down to 8.5. This movie, like the Ninja Turtles, is absolutely going to live on forever. Period. It just is. Like, it's never going to go away because future iterations of it are always going to be created. They're always going to reboot a series. They're always going to reboot the movies. They're always going to put out more comics. They're always going to put out more toys. It's not going to go away. So kids growing up are going to have their own version of the Ninja Turtles out there that they're going to love. But not every kid is going to see this movie. A lot of them will, though, because parents who also love Ninja Turtles will make sure that they watch it growing up. So hopefully they'll grow up with it as well. So, but it's tough to say that this movie is a 9 because there's so much other Ninja Turtle stuff that kind of like muddies the water a little bit when it comes to, oh, this is the 9 and this is what everybody's going to remember. Some people were going to remember the cartoon. Some people are going to remember the early 2000s cartoon. Some people are going to remember the 2014 animated CGI show. Some people, unfortunately, are going to remember the new Michael Bay movies or that new freaking CGI Goofy movie that they made. But 8.5 out of 10 for the Highlander Award. Okay, with the 2 sets of ratings combined and divided by 10, that gives this movie an overall score of 7.05. It is the first movie to be scored in my rating system, in my ranking system, so I don't really have any other movies to compare it to as far as what it's better than or what it's worse than. It is the bar setter. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate you going on this journey with me, going back through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Hopefully you go back and you watch this movie soon. If you haven't subscribed already to our podcast, please make sure to do so. And watch out for future episodes because they will be coming. And just make sure to support it. And if you have any ideas to throw out there, don't be afraid to throw some ideas out there my way. I might not listen to them at all. If you want to talk a little shit, I can talk a little shit back. But you know what? All feedback is welcome. Thanks, guys. I'm out.